All right, guys, so we're going to continue estimating these and we're going to continue doing the problems. I am going to do all of these. If this is something you're doing at home and you're like, gosh, I know how to do this, you can pause the video, do the problem, and then check the work. Not necessarily have to listen to me go through and explain everything. If you're still a little leery on it, go ahead and listen to it. And follow along with me. It does say that you can use a separate sheet of paper to help you draw an area model if you need to, but I think for a lot of you guys, I think you guys would just rather use that standard algorithm. When we use a standard algorithm, I am going to have us write the decimal in unit form. And guys, all of these are hundredths, so they're all going to be listed in hundredths and labeled in hundredths. Oh, except for letter B might not be. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. First thing we need to do is we need to round. So I've got 1 and 23 hundredths. I'm going to round that to 1. 12, I'm going to round that down to 10. So my answer should be close to 10. So I'm going to do 123 hundredths because I've taken out that decimal. I've kind of basically multiplied it, but I'm labeling that so that I can remember that when I'm done, I need to go back and divide it by that 100 or put it into that hundredths place value. So now I can go ahead and multiply this out without worrying about the decimal. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Here's my 0. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. Then I can add this up. 6, 4 plus 3 is 7, 4, and 1. So without putting that decimal or that unit, my answer is 1,476. You guys should kind of say, that's nowhere close to 10. So I'm going to make sure to put my label of hundredths. But then what I'm going to do is I am going to rewrite this in decimal form so that I know that my answer to that problem is 14 and 76 hundredths, which, guys, really close to 10. So I know that I've got that one right. This one, I've got 1 and 3 tenths times 26. I'm going to round this to 1, and then 26 I'm going to round to 30. So I know that my answer should be really close to 30. Could I have left this at 26 or rounded it to 25? I could have, but I'm just going to round that to that 30. So this is where it's a little bit different. This is 1 and 3 tenths. It's actually 13 tenths. So normally we're used to that hundredths. Today, this problem has a tenths. And then I think all the other ones are back into hundredths. So I'm going to multiply it by 26. So let's see here. 3 times 6 is 18. Regroup that 1. 6 and 1 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Here's my 0. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. I'm going to add this up. 8, 13, regroup my 1, 3. Okay, now here's the thing, guys. The answer is not 338. Nowhere close to 30. That should be your hint. But if I add this label of tenths and then I convert it into decimal form, I have 33 and 8 tenths, which, guys, that is closer to 30. All right, rounding 23. Ooh, this one's kind of a little bit of a tricky one because this 23 hundredths, guys, if I were to round it, it would be 0. And then if I would round this 14 to 15, 10, it would be 0 because anything times 0 would be 0. So let's just, for fun, round that down to 0. I'm going to round this to 10. 10 times 0 is 0. So my answer should be close to 0. Let's see what we have going on here. I'm going to convert this 23 hundredths into 23 hundredths and just write that in unit form. And I'm going to multiply it by 14. So 3 times 4 is 12. Regroup my 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 0. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Add this up. 2, 9 plus 3 is 12. Regroup my 1, 3. All right, so this is saying my answer is 322. Nowhere close to that 0. But if I add my label of hundredths, guys, look at this. If I were to put my decimal place in, 3 and 22 hundredths, guys, that's really close to that 0. So that would have been correct to use that as your, oh, I'm sorry, guys, that it's off the screen, that you guys can use that as your rounding because 23 hundredths is closer to 0 than it is to 1. All right, guys, this 45 hundredths. Well, If I did the same thing, guys, 0. 26, let's round it to 30. What is 0 times 30? Well, guys, it's 0 again. So let's see if our answer is going to be close to that. 45 hundredths is what I'm going to write, and I'm going to write that just like this with that unit form. And I'm going to multiply it by 26, okay? 5 times 6 is 30, regroup my 3. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 is 27, okay? I'm going to take my 0 here. 5 times 2 is 10, regroup my 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So let's add this up, 0, 7, 11. If I don't put my label or convert it, 1,170. Guys, is that close to 0? No, that's not. I know that I need to put hundredths. So then if I were to convert this and put that into decimal form, guys, look at that. That 11 is closer to 0. It's still kind of a little bit far away, but it's a lot closer than that 1,170. Okay, let's round this one. Oh, let's round this to 7. And let's round 28 to 30. So 7 times 30, it would be 7 times 3 is 21, but it's a 10, so 21 tens would be 210. So this answer should be close to 210. So let's check. I'm going to convert this 706 into hundredths. All I did was multiply that by 100 to get rid of that decimal, and I'm going to multiply it by 28. All right? 6 times 8 is 48. Regroup my 4. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 12. Regroup my 1. Okay. 8 times 7 is 56, I believe, if I am correct. And then plus 1 is 57. And let me double check to make sure. 56. Yes, that is correct. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my 0 here. 6 times 2 is 12. Regroup my 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, now if I add these up, 8, 4, 8, 9, 1. This is saying my answer is going to be 19,848. Well, if I add my label, and now I convert this into decimal form, look how close that is to that 210. That 19,000 was way off, but this is a lot closer. 6 and 32 hundredths, I'm going to round that to 7. Or sorry, I'm going to round that to 6. I don't know what I was thinking. 223, I'm going to round that down to 200. So I've got 6 times 200. So 6 times 2 is 12, but it's 100. So I need to add those two. So it's either 1,200 or you could say 1,200. I am going to convert this into that unit form, which is 632 hundredths. And I'm going to multiply it by 233. All right. So 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 6 is 18. I'm going to add a 0. 3 times 2 is 6. Oh my goodness, it's the same thing. 3 times 3 is 9. 6 times 3 is 18. Regroup that one. Or not regroup that one, put that one there. Then I'm going to go ahead and add 2 zeros. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. And I'm going to add these up. So let's see, I've got 6, 15, regroup my 1, 9, 10, 18, 19, 20, 22. So I've got a 2 here. So 8, 10, 16, 17, regroup my 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So this answer is saying it's 147,256. But when I add my hundredths, and then I convert that into my decimal form, guys, look how much closer that is to that 1,200, 1,400, as opposed to that 147,256. So guys, it does really work out when you do that estimation. You can always check your work whenever you are doing any kind of estimation. So 7 and 6 hundredths, I'm going to round that to 7. 208, I'm going to round that to 200. 7 times 200, 7 times 2 is 14, 14 hundredths. So this answer should be close to 1,400. So I'm going to go ahead and just write 706 hundredths. Multiply it by 208. Okay. 6 times 8 is 48. Regroup my 4. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. And then 7 times 8 is 56. All right. I can skip this 0 because that's just going to give me a bunch of zeros. But I need to make sure that I put those 2 zeros to show that I'm multiplying this by 200. 2 times 6 is 12. Regroup my 1. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this up. Not even having to regroup anything. So nice and easy. This is saying it's 146,848. But guys, when I put that label on, it changes it completely. And let's see that when I put this label in, that decimal, look how close that is to that 1400. Okay, last one. Whew. I am going to round 151 and 46 hundredths. I'm going to round that to 200. And 555, I'm going to round that to 600. So I've got 200 times 600. So I've got 2 times 6 is 12. And then I've got a 100 times 100. That's going to give me 10,000, or I'm going to add those 4 zeros. And this answer just so happens to be 120,000. Ooh, this one looks like it's going to be a really, really, really long problem. So I'm going to go ahead and put 15,146 hundredths. And multiplying it by 555, which, guys, it'll actually be the same answer going across, except each time I'm going to be adding a new zero. So 6 times 5 is 30. Regroup my 3. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3 is 23. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup my 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay, so I'm going to do my 0 here. 6 times 5 is 30. Regroup my 3. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3 is 23. Regroup my 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup my 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. Guys, do you notice that it's the same answer? It's just adding 1 0 as we go. I'm going to make this so it looks like just 1 0 here. Okay. So now I'm going to do this next one, which is hundreds. So now I can go 5 times 6 is 30. Regroup my 3. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3 is 23. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup my 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 7 is 7. So it's just basically the same answer, but it just kind of just adds those zeros. So I've got 0, 3, 7 and 3 is 10. Regroup my 1. So 7, 10, 15, 16. Regroup my 1. I've got 14, 15 plus 5 is 20. Regroup my 2. 5 plus 2 is 7 plus 7 is 14. Regroup my 1. So this is saying that it should be close to 8. Oh my goodness, if I don't have my label, that's saying that it is 8,406,030. I don't think that's going to be very right. So let's go ahead and put my label. And let's go ahead and come up here. Okay. Well, guys, my answer is 84,060 3/10. You know what? That is really close to that 120,000. It might not seem like it, but it's a lot closer than that 8 million. So that one would be correct with that.